decision support system. This is one of the computerized systems. Now it means now club all the technology tools and now different type of the models. Now all these now is clubbed together and then after now it's one of the decision support systems. Under this head, now I have taken example is one of the apple fruit crops. Now apple is one of the most important fruit crop, especially for the hilly areas, and it is grown in Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, then after Uttarakhand, and some of the part of the Arunachal Pradesh. Here you can see the this is the framework for the implementation of the IPM program. In IPM program, in decision support systems, now three heads are there. One is the strategic decision, second is the continuous monitoring, and third is the tactical decision. All these decisions now mixed together, then after now it's developed one of the operational decision. In operational decision is one of the most important things, and these operational decision now it's provide the information directly to the farmers. So that now this is the one of the framework of the IPM program. Under this head, now one of the taxes decision now having two aspects. One is the plant production practices, and second is the performing non-chemical methods. So that now it will be decided. So now here under this head, now consider under the organic materials, and then after in case of plant production practices, now all these chemicals now now consider under this head. So that now all these tactics now mixed together, and then after now it's for one of the framework of the implementation of IPM program. Under this head, here now three operational head, tactical head, and strategic. Now strategic now is cover the most of the areas, so that now and now operational heads now it's within the crop and tactics now in the crop period. So these all these aspects now which covered by the owner, director, manager, and employee, all these persons now generally involved in this head regarding the strategic decision, tactical decision, and operational decisions. You can see here the implementation of the IPM now require more knowledge. This one is the knowledge for the plant production practices, properties, and application. All these information which are more important if you're going to develop any decision support system. So that now knowledge is one of the most important things. Second is the complexity, multiple criteria for local condition and cost benefit analysis. So complexity now generally involve the greater complexity than the implementation of the conventional agricultural system. So two things. One is the knowledge and complexity, which are more important if you're going to develop any decision support systems for the crops. Under this head, now this is the chain of the decision support system. Now first, initially we start from the identification of the problem, then analyze the problem, develop and evaluate the solutions, then select the best solutions, convert decision into action, and then now last is the follow aspect. So this is the one of the chain of decision support system. Decision support systems now which follow nowadays in most of the field area like agriculture, natural resource management, environmental studies, health sector, and business. So now I'm talking about the agriculture ESS in agriculture systems. The four important part of the decision support system. One is the database management system and knowledge base. Two most important things. Then now user interface, and now last is the user. So now four head which are generally involved in decision support system. In case of agriculture, now one of the agronomy, soil science, plant pathology, and entomology now frequently use the decision support system for the crop. In decision support systems, one is the machine learning. Machine learning, which are more important nowadays, now frequently used by the most of the persons. And on these basis, you can identify the problem. Then after now, warning system is another important aspect regarding the disease aspects or insect aspects. So warning is one of the another important. And then on-site device and overall, all these now clubbed together. Now it's developed a decision support systems. In decision support system, first of all, now collect the data from the cloud through the GPS systems are now having different type of the sensors. Suppose now you are working on the apple fruit crop, so different type of the sensors which are generally um, involved in this aspect, and then after now collect the data, and these data sent to the automated pest control, pest and disease models. And these some of the experts are there, and these experts now which use these models, and then after now develop send the information to the panel of the expert, and the panel expert also takes the observation or collect the data from the through GPS, and now take decision and then send to the IPM person's guide. Which follow the guideline of for the IPM, and then send to the advisor with local advisor, and these local advisors send information to especially the farmers. So this is the actual flow chart of the decision support systems. The same information uh, here in case of decision support system. Now one of the most important is the database, and these database use the database now frequently use the different type of the model in database, and then after now send to the expert knowledge, club to the expert knowledge, and then interpret it, and then after now advise to decision making. So all these information which are more important regarding the decision support system. Here now four aspects which are generally involved. One is the crop environment, second is the data, third is the knowledge, and now fourth the decision. So that now in case of crop environment, regarding collection of the data, then analysis of the data, and interpretation, and then after now follow action. So on these basis, nowadays, now in all over the world, different type of the decision support system are there. Just you can see here, mention the some of the examples like OM, especially used in case of the Apple Scape, Sidarus, and those states, Skybit, AG Radar, Lua, and Ripro. All these decision support systems which are available on the websites, and simply now one of the registration is there, and now having the sum of the fees now $50 or $100, so that now if you pay the $50, then after you can register and now take the data from all over the world, and on these basis you can develop the decision support system for anywhere. Here now mention one of the AG radar decision support system, especially in case of the Apple Scape. Apple Scape, now the pathogens which are survive on the fallen leaves, and if the condition is favorable, then after they form pseudothecia, and these pseudothecia now mature SI and ascospores. These ascospores now which start infection. So in case of decision support system, this is one of the most important things. If you know about the pseudothecia maturation or development of SI and ascospore, on these basis you can forecast and reduce the number of spray, because if you develop any IPO program or management of the apple fruit crops, it's require number of the spray, near about 10 to 12 spray, which are generally required for the management of the foliar diseases. So that on these basis, if you know about the warning systems, or you know about the pseudothecia maturation or ascospore information, ascospore development in the environment, so that on these basis you can reduce the number of spray. So AG radar, and then after now one of the another NIVA decision support systems, RIMPRO decision support systems. All these support systems which are available on the website. If you anybody should interested, you can see the website, and now all the information which are available. Simply now one of the software technology, and these technology now based on the weather parameters. On these basis, you can find out the disease warnings or disease forecasting. So on these basis, now we have collected the data from different places of the Uttarakhand hills. So now one of the equipment now purchased from the Austria, and these equipment now placed in different area of the Garhwal Himalayas. 6 or 7 place now we have selected, and then after now place these equipments. And these equipments simply collect the weather parameters and plus the warning systems of the apple scab. The scabs which are available just below the lines now totally free from the scabs, especially in the Garhwal Himalaya, in the Uttarakhand Himalaya, and above the black line now the scabs are there. So nowadays now below the black line now all area now which are free from the disease. Here you can see the life cycle of the pathogens. First of all, the pathogens which are survived here on the fallen leaf or third floor, and then after, if the condition is suitable, then they form the pseudothecia, and these pseudothecia now mature and they form SI and SQ spores. Here now it's required 10 to 12 degrees centigrade temperature, and after that now it's required the 18 degrees temperature. Then after they form SI and SQ spores, now start the infections here. So if you know, farmer doesn't know about the actual stage of the SI and SQ spore formation, and all these information which are directly related to the weather parameters. So that if you know about the SQ spore formation, so here if you use if you manage the crop through the fungicide, then automatically number of the spray will be reduced. Now these are the different phenological stage of the tree, and these phenological stage now which are frequently used regarding the spraying of the chemicals. These are the spray schedules now developed especially for the Uttarakhand Hills area. Now different type of the schedules, and mostly fungicides which are frequently used to manage the crops. Due to this systems, now we find out the primary inoculum, phenological stage, infection periods, and all these information now which club together, and then after now start the then develop the warning systems, especially for the apple scab. So in the Garhwal Himalayas. Due to this systems, now we find out the infection period, degree days, means infection period, warning period, and potential SQ score dose. Now all these informations which are more important, especially for the apple scab, or if you are working on the apples, so that now all these information which are most important. If you predict the disease, so especially in the Garhwal Himalaya, now we conducted different trials, and then after use one of the degree days model. In degree days model, now logic, probit, and degree days, now all three which are frequently used for the forecasting of the SQ spore maturation. Then Mills criteria is one of the most important things. Now Mills, now he developed one of the table, and these table which are very popular in all over the world. So nowadays, due to the weather parameters, now some of the changes are there, so that now evaluate the Mills criteria, especially in the Garhwal Himalaya, and then after now last is the potential SQ score dose. So all these parameters which are used for developing forecasting models are warning systems, especially for the Garhwal Himalayas. Due to this systems, now if you click here, suppose now disease related sensors, so that now all these observations which are available here, so that simply you click here scab SQ score infections, then now weak apple scab SQ score infections, all these information which are available on your screen, and on these basis simply find out the SQ spore maturation. So one of these computerized systems, and second things, now manually we collect the fallen leaf, and then after find out the SQ spore maturation, so that now both the informations now are the same, so that now I think now it is more accurate. Here now we collect the data degree days, and then after the SQ spore maturation, so that one of the sigmoid curve which are generally appears in case of most of the places, now 7 to 8 places now which are selected in the Uttarakhand hills, so that near about 91% relationship which are formed. Whole Uttarakhand hills now divided into two parts. Here you can see now 1900 to 2200 meter above the sea level. and then after more than 2200 meter above the sea level. For 60% escosur maturation, now it's required in case of 1900 to 2200 meter above the sea level, now near about the 500-degree days. And in case of 60% escosur maturation, in case in, more than 2200 meter above the sea level, now it requires near about 750 degree days. So on these basis, you can predict the escospore maturation in the area on the degree days basis. So that we find out in whole Uttarakhand hills area, the degree days for 50% maturation, it requires these degree days, and for 70% now it requires this, these degree days. In case of Mills criteria, Mills is one of the most important things, so that in the here you can see the primary square development yellow dot lines for the Mills table, and sky blue is our data. So some of the differences in our data and Mills table, near about 2 days differences which are generally found in our data and Mills table. On these basis, now we revised the Mills table, and now it's published in the Plant Pathology, is one of the reputed journals. Now, third aspect, first is the degree days, second is the Mills criteria, and third is the potential escospore dose. Now, these potential escospore dose is also one of the most important things for the forecasting of escospore maturation. So, in this regard, now it requires lichen density, pseudothecial density, leaf litter density, and one of the escospore density. So, very simple things. If you move in the orchard area, then after you can select the 4 trees, and in between the 4 trees, you can find out all these lichen density, escospore density, all these information, and these now club together. Then after you can find out the potential escospore dose. These potential escospore dose now depend on the last year crop. If you spray the chemicals during the harvesting of the crops, or 5% urea or 2% urea, generally most of the farmers which are frequently used to decomposing of the fallen leaves. So that on these basis the potential escospore dose is the very less. And the same information now collect the data from different place of the Uttarakhand hills area from 1994 to 2010, and then potential escospore dose is very high in 1996. Now, these 1996 is the epidemic year. On that time, the government of Uttarakhand, government of Uttar Pradesh now had taken decision to destroy all the apple fruit from the Bhatwadi fruit or Gangotri fruit belt area, because now this is the epidemic year. Now, second epidemic year now in 2008. So that now 2 epidemic years now occur, especially in the Bhatwadi fruit belt or Gangotri fruit belt, is due to the scab. On the basis of potential escospore, if less than 800 potential escospore dose, so that there is no need to spray of the chemical. If above the 800 potential escospore dose, so that now it needs the spray. The same information now broadcast through the SMS service and radio stations and Doordarshan. Now, just one of the nearest radio station, Najibabad. Now, all the information sent to the Najibabad radio stations, and now in local newspaper. And before the starting of the news, one of the slogan is there. Now, Harsil area mein escospore mature hone wala hai, so that now farmer can spray the chemical. So these type of information now broadcasted through the radio stations or TV, Doordarshans. And it is more popular, especially for the Gangotri fruit belt area. And this is the last my slide. Now conclusion. The decision support system now is one of the most important aspects nowadays. And now due to this, now reduce the cost of protecting their crops from pests and diseases because of the reduction of the number of treatments, improve the use of the natural resources, and now increase the crop quality and quantity. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the nice, wonderful presentation. We started with a very good presentation of the need of the hour, I can say, the plant protection and quarantine management through DSS. Any queries or questions from the participants? Any further?
There was Vardam also mentioned one place.
Yes, yes.
Vardam also is a great infection.
Nowadays, not there.
Not there.
But now near about before the 2000, now it's about there.
Unusual.
Now Josimat, now Pauli, nowadays now Pauli is there. Pauli and now Gangotri fruit.
Is there any relationship between this elevation?
Yes, yes, yes. Take this slide. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Now organizing secretary, now consider my name for the lead lecture. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I invite Dr. Pramod Man, Biological Studies on Pollen Grains of some fruit crops. Please requested to come for 15 minutes for the lead speaker.
Last. इसी में चल रही है?
Yes.
Honorable Chairman, Co-Chairman, reporters, esteemed delegates, dignitaries from different states, dear students, we are here to discuss this palynological studies of pollen grains of some fruit crops. This is, there is a question that why this is needed, the study of pollen. It is needed for the botanical information. The second thing is that to identify the different taxa and different type of honey, which is very important to identify the honey source from where the honey is collected. The literal meaning you can see the palluin meaning sprinkle or scatter, and pollen in Latin it is dust. So this is collected by now it is written here the phylogenetic analysis, and it can also be utilized in identification of different plant, identification of honey, palynology and paleobotany. This is the plant, the pollen is important in pollination process, and the various, the 250,000 angiosperm plants are thriving well across the world. And these 250,000 plants are totally depend upon the 2 lakhs pollinators, different pollinators. And out of these pollinators, the 80% of the pollination services is rendered by different insects, 80% out of total. And these 80%, if we suppose this as 100, then 80% out of these is performed only by bees. Bees not includes only honeybees, but other bees are there, and they are rendering their services across the world for different types of crops, in pollinating different crops. Presently, we are cultivating 1,300 crops for our food purpose. And out of these 100, 300, the 900 crops are cross-pollinated. And in these 900 cross-pollinated crops, the pollination is one of the very, very important process. And you can say that out of 100%, if you suppose, then 33% production is contributed to these pollinators. Means mostly the insects are the bees. Bees includes 22,000 different species. 22,000, they are thriving across the world in different states, in different countries, and silently they are providing their services to fulfill the food grain requirement. And that is why these pollen grains, if mainly we divide or we uh, go to the purpose why there is a need of study of these pollen grains. So two purposes are there. One is that to fulfill the requirement or to for rearing of bees, honeybees, and second one is we can use as our food, human food. And this is one of the very, very important human food, or you can say it is a apicultural product. We will discuss it later. What are the different apicultural products which are of have prime importance? Why this pollen is chief source of protein for bees as well as for us. We can take as a nutritious diet or capsules or tonics. Different products of these pollens are available in the international markets. 100 milligram pollen required for optimum growth of young adult bees. One adult bees requires 100 milligram of pollen for complete growth and development of this. 18-gram pollen is required to rear one colony for 1 year, one honeybee colony. And of course, we are not we are well acquainted with this information that how the pollination is important for different crops. Now you can see the apple. It is reported sometimes somewhere it is reported 7,000% increase can be achieved through pollination. If proper pollination is facilitated in various crops, you see pear, cherry, strawberry, lychee, orange, 7,000 or 8,000 times increase can be enhanced in various crops, fruit trees especially. But in crops, various like this mustard or other crops, which are depend upon the cross pollination, we can increase up to average 30% to 35% increase can be achieved in different crops by facilitating only pollination. And that is why this pollination or beekeeping is important because land is dwindling day by day. There is no scope to increase the productivity. Almost we are on the culmination of the production highest level. So this is only way if we are facilitating the pollination in various crops and proper pollination is facilitated, then we can increase 20, 30% or 40% in average in different crops. These are the other crops in which these are the different products of beekeeping. Briefly, we might be aware because if we are talking about the beekeeping, generally this is the general perception that beekeeping means honey production, but it is not true. In many of the country, you will find the honey is the secondary product or byproduct of beekeeping. The primary product is like the bee wax, pollen, the royal jelly production. You can see here the propolis is another important anti-carcinogenic effect is there. It is already proven that maybe I'm telling here. This is bee venom, which is poison. If we are collecting the poison, its price is 1 lakh rupees per kg in international markets. This is pollen, which can be formulated in different commercial packing we can make and we can sell it. This is royal jelly, anti-aging product, which is magical product of beekeeping. And this will delay the process of aging process in human being too. it is given to one queen, one member of that colony, a honeybee queen. So its life is increased. You see, the 3 years she can survive. It is completely fed one individual. If same individual is fed with the pollen or other food which is given, that will survive, our lifespan will be only for 42 days. So this is only the food which can determine whether the individual will develop in the form of queen or in the form of worker. If it is fully fed, then that will survive up to 4 year, 5 year. And if it is partially fed, then that will survive. There is no genetic difference in these two individuals, but this is only the difference. The royal jelly which can differentiate one to survive 4 years, another to survive 42 days. So that is why this is called a magical product of beekeeping and anti-aging product. The pollen grains, the wax, and different types of honey. So we are not going to discuss in detail about these. So these are the ideal condition for beekeeping. The bee boxes are there, and the mustard crop is there for honey production or pollen production. Briefly, you can see this is honey of different color. This color is totally depend upon the types of the flower from where it is collected. Honey is collected. If color of the flower is white, then honey will be of white in color. If it is darker, then production honey will be darker in color. So this is for general information, because my topic is very confined or restricted palynological history. It is not of general interest. So just I submitted a paper and the topic is given for this invited lecture, which should be a broader and generalized. So that is why I am including some more things. So this is different constituents of pollen: protein, lipid, sterol. And this is how we can collect the pollen, because manually it is not possible for a human being to collect from the field. So bees collect the pollen. In one trip, they can visit more than 100 or 200 flowers, and they can collect 20 to 25 milligrams of pollen grains in one trip. And that this pollen trap, a small device, can be purchased at 200, 300 rupees cost. And we can put at the entrance, and that all the pollens, the bees will be compelled to go through these holes, and the collected pellets in the hind leg will be left over. They will be deprived of these pellets, and the pollen will be collected in this tray. And then in the evening, we can have 100 or 200 gram of pollen from every colony, individual colony. So for different, you see the human being, how we can use as a detoxifier, appetizer, sports nutrition. This is available in the form of the capsule for international athletes. So these are the different types of shapes are there, which we can study. Methodology given in brief. We have conducted experiments to just identify the different pollens. These are the electron microscope, where we have conducted the study here. And these are the different parameters which is taken to have the morphological study. Now different peer pollen is there, some morphological information is there, and this is shape, actually measured length, width, and all the things. So we had conducted a study for studied 50 pollens in electron microscope, and so that we can identify easily that what type of honey is collected, and on that basis, the type of honey is determined whether it is unifloral or monofloral or multifloral. So if one type of pollen is present in honey, more than 50,000 pollens are present in 10 gram of volume of honey, then it is unifloral honey. If less than that, then multifloral honey. So on the basis of presence or pollen count, it is decided that what type of honey is there and what is the major source from where it is collected. So this is useful information, I think. So only we have considered here for the fruit crops, not all the ornamental or other crops are not taken. And this is morphological description of all the pollen conducting. Thank you, Fanny Cook. Where is there?
Thank you, Dr. Pramod. Now, I request.
Sir.
It's wonderful talk. But one thing is very important.
Yes. Sir.
Impact of environmental pollution, particularly towers जो बन रहे हैं, उनका बहुत adverse effect खाली people को हो रहा है.
Sir.
And we say more than 100 crops are pollinated.
Of course.
Most of them horticultural crops. If these are not active, then I think the problem of all this is going on. What we have observed, this Homa atmosphere
Yeah.
is wonderful technology for improving the business. So if there is possibility, you can take it and see, and then Homa can be put there, so they feel all this.
We can conduct a study on that, the impact of foam and other things. Yeah.
He said, adverse effect, maximum more sensitive.
Yeah. We had conducted a study in 2014, the electromagnetic impact of these radiations over the honeybees. So, but we didn't find any significant impact. Of course, impact is there. I cannot deny that. But significant impact is not there in our country. Of course, in many of the country, European country, the 40-50% population of honeybees killed by this electromagnetic radiation. But here still we are safe from that electromagnetic radiation because this is not intensive, so intensive in Asia. In other country, European country, it is very severe problem, and government is trying to just resolve this major issue. But in our, fortunately, we are safe still. But in years to come, it would be a big problem for us. Any more
From my side, Dr. Pramod, you said about the collection of pollen by keeping the pollen trap at the entrance of the beekeeping box. And the previous slide, you were discussing about the pollen is the source of nutrition for the bee colony and bee
Yeah, yeah.
And whether there is any significant impact, how if we trap all the pollen at the entrance itself, and what about the survival of the colony?
No, ma'am. This is very good question. But we put this the pollen trap only for 2 hours, 3 hours, and after 15 days or 10 days we put that, so that it cannot impact the brood development or the basic requirement of the colony. So only given for shorter period of time. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and another question is, you said that in Uniclora and Multiclora honey,
Yeah.
is there any nutritional importance of Uni or Multiclora honey differences there?
No, there is no nutritional differences. It is only the difference in fragrance. Fragrance is different, taste is different, but nutritional, the honey is only known how honey is prepared by mixing the enzymes of bee saliva or stomach material. So if it is once it is added, that is honey, and that will have all the property of the honey. So there is no nutritional difference. Honey is honey.
Why I ask this, nowadays in market, we are seeing all types of different tulsi honey like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, the medicinal value will also be changed if fluoride change.
Yes, of course. One thing is that basically the honey property is there. If it is honey collected by bees and collected by bees, it may be from different flora. But the type, if you are talking about the medicinal honey, so medicinal property is additional property which is added in the honey. But all the property which is made by bees after mixing the saliva and enzymes and all the things that is there. This medicinal honey, medicinal properties, additional bonus you can say, that can have a different type of taste and different additional property depending upon type of flora. But sometimes in the market, sometimes you can see the ginger honey is there, or sometimes the turmeric honey is there. If plants is not able to produce flower and there is no flower, there is no nectar, then how honey is prepared? It is not possible to connect or produce the honey from those plants where there is no flower. So people are not aware basically about this, how honey is prepared. So just they mix the essence of different food material or the medicinal plants and say. Yeah.
That is different. They're
Yeah.
including the required
So that is a market gimmick.
Yeah.
That is a market gimmick basically.
Yeah, yeah. Because legally you are not permitted to add anything in the honey. Even essence is not permitted. So that is illegal. You cannot add anything in the honey. You are permitted to reduce only the moisture. If moisture is more than 20% in honey, that can be reduced. But you cannot add anything. So different type of the confusion is there. A lot of confusion. People are not aware about these things. How honey is produced and what is the basic concept of honey production. So a lot of things are there market, but
Question is that we are taking the jamun honey. So will it be useful for the diabetic person?
comparatively it is better. Jamun has its medicinal property, which is better for the diabetic patients. So if you are taking honey, other honey, comparatively the jamun honey is better. But you cannot say that this is safe and anyone can eat. A diabetic patient can eat. You cannot permit. But comparatively it is better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I now invite Dr. Rajendra Pratap Singh ji, challenges of pest management in horticulture crops under protected cultivation.
How much time, ma'am, I had? 15 minutes. Okay. So, respected chairperson and co-chairperson and dear friends, खुद ही सुनाना है, खुद ही सुनना है. So I shall be very brief. So even I may finish within 3 or 15 minutes. So basically, I wanted to share some of the experiences that what we have done in protected cultivation. So basically, it is the experience sharing, and the credit goes to my students, those who have worked for their masters and PhD thesis with me in last 12 years. So basically, protected cultivation is a very big word, but mostly we consider it the synonym to the polyhouse cultivation. Whereas if you see in our own country, the total area is 2,15,000 hectares. And out of that, 85% area is under only the plastic mulch. Only 5,000 hectares is under the polyhouse cultivation. So out of 2,55,000 under polyhouse cultivation. So basically today I will confine myself to the polyhouse cultivation only because it is not possible to cover all those things. So I am leaving all other technologies. And even in polyhouse, we are growing fruits, flowers, and vegetables. So mostly my experience is confined to the vegetables only. So mostly it is the 3 vegetables, tomato, capsicum, and cucumber that is grown. And I have worked only on these 3 crops only. So that is my limitation. Normally, we all know what are the benefits of the protected cultivation. Normally, we have the notion that since we are growing the crop under the protected cultivation, the pest incidence will be low and it will be very safe crop. But this is a misconception because we forget that when we are creating a congenial climatic condition for the plant, so side by side we are also creating a congenial condition for its pathogens and pests also. So for initial 1 or 2 years, normally our crops remain relatively free from the pest or pathogen, but second year onwards problem starts. So once there will be entry of any pathogen or pest inside the polyhouse, then it is very difficult to manage it. So then really it is very difficult. So basically what is important that, as we all know this phrase that prevention is better than cure. So mostly it is the preventive measures that is the really working and normally we forget this one. So this is the most unfortunate part. So if you want to, these are the key points if you want to manage really the pest problem in the protected position. So these points should be taken into the consideration. So I'm not going into detail because we will discuss one by one. But most important point is the greenhouse construction and design. If you see in our country, most of the almost 99% of the polyhouses has been created through the subsidy only. And whenever you are depending on the subsidy, you have to comply the norms that is created. So basically it is very strict provision, and in subsidy there is a fixed that you want to curtail the cost, you want to increase the beneficiary, so you curtail the cost. And in that way, whatever the designing we are doing, and many times we have find that these designs are promoting the pest incidence in the polyhouses because we compromising on many points. Number one is the height. You see that there are different types of polyhouses. If you see this polyhouse, its height is hardly 10 to 12 feet compared to this one. So whenever you are going to reduce the height, you are going to create a condition that is going to favor the pest and disease incidence. Again, it's ventilation, it's cladding material, it's entry point. So these are the major points where we compromise. So if you see here again, direct entry point, this is highly undesirable. But the design is such in a particular scheme that you can't deviate. So these are the certain issues that is very, very important. Then cladding material, that is again very, very important. Mostly if you see the cladding material is polythene for layman's. So mostly if you are not using anti-dripping polythene material, so there will be dripping. And if there is a dripping, its leaf wetness will be more and it is very congenial for almost all the fungal infections. So this is the again very important one. Again, this is the most important aspect, basically the nets that we are using for ventilation. And mostly whatever the polyhouses we have, mostly it is fitted with the net that is having the 40 mesh. And with 40 mesh, almost most of the insects can pass. So if you want to check the entry of the vectors, particularly like mites or thrips, then it should be more than 60 mesh. But if you are going for the 60 mesh, it will increase the cost. So mostly the polyhouses are having the 40 mesh. But this is not sufficient to restrict the entry of the most of the insects. So that is the major again issue. Then whatever the benches you are going to take, that is again its design, that many times it is not facilitating the penetration of the sunlight and the ventilation. Again, it is going to create a problem. Then next, after construction and design, the next important aspect is the sanitation practices. And basically, if you see, the sanitation is the key for pest management under the polyhouses. So that is the most important, and normally we ignore. And when we say sanitation, it is a very big word. Mostly it is the preparation of the your polyhouse. It's pre-plant sanitation, then post-plant sanitation. So there are different steps. So mostly, even just you take one picture that I have taken, though we say that whatever the crop residues are there, it should be discarded because mostly it is the source where the pathogen survive. But it is discarded just outside the polyhouse, and just behind, just it is adjacent to the net. So it is again, it has no meaning. So like that, there are many things that we ignore, and that is going to create the problem in the main. Then again, when you are going to discuss the pre-plant sanitation, it is the media preparation, it is the water sanitation, sanitization of the tools and equipments that we are using, and most important was the transplant production. again, just I will share my some of the experiences where the disease was introduced in our country through the transplants. So now coming to the practical aspect, there are certain challenges that is continuing, and there are certain new challenges that has been added. So if you see, the most important challenge is the management of the nematodes under the polyhouses. After third year onwards, it is hardly you will find any polyhouse which is free from the nematodes. And once it has entered inside the polyhouses, it is very difficult to manage. So this is the number one issue from my thinking. Second one is the almost all the soil-borne diseases, be it a collar rot, be it a root rot, or it is the wilt. So after the nematodes, all the fungal or bacterial soil-borne pathogens are the next important aspect that we have to keep in mind. Then again, Sclerotinia white rot is again a new problem. And recently I have got one picture from the Indian University of Agriculture and Technology only 2 days back. And it was the same problem, but since it was in the early stage and they were not able to diagnose. And this is the one pathogen that is affecting more than 60 crop species. Not only the fruits and vegetables, almost all the crops can be affected. And mostly the cucumber and capsicum are the highly sensitive to this particular pathogen. Viruses are again very, very important, and there are many viruses that they are new that we have reported from here. And again, I have taken from the cucumber. Again, these 5 types of viruses we have reported from Pantnagar itself. And there are one, again, if you see, this is again one pathogen that is the quarantine pathogen, and this is the one pathogen that is introduced through the seed in our country, in Kabi stem blight. And nowadays, this is the major issue either in the open field condition or in the protected condition. So again, it is a gift from the multinationals that we have got through the seeds. Then this is again a virus that is the first time we have reported from the India with the help of ISHRD. Then this is again Dr. Mohan is there. We reported 2 types of luta. Again, it is a quarantine pest, and it is the major issue in protected condition, not in the open field. So again, it is very unique. We reported, and it was published in 2018 in Indian Journal of Entomology. Tomato spotted wilt virus, again, it is a tosto virus. It is affecting, there is large number of crops. Mostly it is the capsicum and tomato are the major one. Besides these one, there are certain other problems are also very important. Toxicity is very, very important, particularly the toxicity of the nutrients and the pesticides. Normally the fertigation that we are getting, it is the toxicity that is due to the high concentration of the nutrients that we are applying. And almost 70 to 80% are the polyhouses where I have seen this type of problem. Because we are not, we have said, though we are saying that we have standardized the fertigation schedule, but to my view, it is, we are giving a very high dosage of the nutrients, and that's how it is creating the problem. This is the toxicity of the one pesticide that was used in the polyhouse at the same dose that is recommended for the open field condition. So what is important, that doses for the protected condition is entirely different than the open field condition. This is the, you see these two, the same dose was used that are recommended for the open field condition, but in the protected condition, it is creating toxicity. Then nutrient deficiency are also very, very important, because your field is limited and you are taking very high yield. And if you are not giving the nutrient, particularly this is again you see blossom in rot, and this is the zinc deficiency. Particularly in the tomato, it is the fruits become very hard, just like stone, and very shiny, and sometimes it is deformed also. And it is very common in the tomatoes, because you are taking very high yield and you are not giving any supplementation. So these are again, this is the one problem that I wish to work on that, but I shifted from the vegetables to another crop. So I could not work on that. That is the physiological disorder, and particularly the physiological leaf rolling. That is very serious issue in tomato, and normally people consider it as a viral problem, but it is basically the physiological leaf roll. Because what is happening, if you see, if it is the viral, it is the top leaves that is showing the rolling, but it is only the lower leaves that is showing the leaf rolling, and it is the typical physiological leaf roll. And there are many varieties which are more prone to that one. And if you are giving very high doses, then also it is there. So it again, it is a very complex issue and nobody is working on that. So this is the one aspect. If you anybody are working in that field, so this is the very challenging problem that we can work upon. So now I'm coming to the management option. So these are the options that we can work on. But madam, I will only discuss only 2 slides that I am skipping. I am skipping all those things. Yeah. What is the problem? Basic problem is that this is the number one. We don't have the specific pesticides for protected cultivation. Mostly whatever pesticides are recommended for the open field condition, that same you are using in the protected cultivation. So there is no separate label claiming for protected cultivation in our country. So this is basically the policy issues that have to be done. Just to take one example, there is one pesticide that is called ISHRD. That is very commonly used in tomato. In US, it can be used in open field condition, but same pesticide can't be used in tomato under the protected one. But there is no such rule in our country. So that is the need. Second one, that there is a frequent harvest in the protected condition, and that's why you are not able to follow the waiting period. So that is again, you need a safer chemical that have the waiting period of 3 to 4 days, but we don't have in our hand. So this is the second issue. That third one, that is we don't have any specific equipment that is best suited for the protected culture. We are using the same knapsack sprayer, where we have the latest technology for the protected condition, but it is not available in our country. That is again the issue. Second one, the last one, that is what I have, the last point, that is the lack of concern. Though we say that we are producing the quality produced in the poly houses, but what we have observed that abuse or misuse of the pesticide is maximum in poly houses as compared to the open field condition. So these are the issues that is to be kept in mind when you are going to discuss. And again, I'm not going to this again, you can leave it. And these are the policy issues that you have to keep in mind. That is my last issue. That is the what I said, the subsidy versus the cost management. That if you are going to give the subsidy, so your designing should be such that it should be in favor of less pest incidents and pathogen attack. This is the number one. Then we should have a separate label claiming for the pesticide for the protected cultivation. Then research priority, quarantine measures that I have shown that there are many new pathogens and pest has been introduced. So we have to strengthen our quarantine system, and pesticide dose should be separate for the protected cultivation as compared to the open field condition. And last, that is very important, that is the capacity building of the workers. And what is the last point, madam? That is mine, is that hardly there are only few person in the country, those who are working in protected cultivation. 12 years back when I started working in country, hardly there in the whole country, there are hardly 2 or 3% that are working for the plant protection. And I shifted from protected to the another crop. I don't know what is the current situation. So these are the few issues that I wanted to share. Thank you very much. If you have any query, I will be happy to respond.
Thank you very much, sir, for this great presentation and focusing on the challenges and priorities of protected cultivation in India, especially. Any queries or doubts, any other information required from the participants? So I think,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So I now invite Dr. R.N. Srivastavaji, Pesticide Residue Management in Horticultural Products.
Good afternoon to all of you. I would like to thank the organizer for giving me an opportunity. I am going to discuss a hidden topic. Nobody is going to focus on it, but it is alarming. This is contamination of our food commodity We have to think again and again why the pest population is enhancing in our agro ecosystem. I am focusing the crop as an agro ecosystem. We should consider any crop as an agro ecosystem. Why day by day pest infestation is enhancing, as Dr. R.P. Singh told. Mite, whitefly, chassid, thrips, aphids, its population is enhancing. 10 days before, population of whitefly is 2 per leaf, and now these days it is more than 50. To combating that problem, farmers are dumping lethal chemical in that particular agro ecosystem. Farmers are unable to manage the pest infestation. This is the true reality. You just go beyond the universities and laboratory, you may find that farmers are unable to manage the pest population and they are only relying on the chemical. But what is the real dose? What is the correct dose? Nobody knows. Even scientific community have very less knowledge about the correct dose, correct time of the particular chemical. One technical officer came to me that, sir, I had sprayed imidacloprid at the dose of 5 ml per liter. What would be the correct dose? Real dose is 0.3 ml per liter, I think. Third situation is due to continuous dumping of the lethal chemical in the particular agro ecosystem, there is contamination of our food commodity. That's why there is a train is running from Bikaner to something Mumbai. That name of that train is Cancer Express. This is ground reality that now these days we can't grow cotton without help of any chemical, without help of any protected umbrella like this. That's why we totally rely on the BT cotton like this. So this injudicious, indiscriminate dumping of the lethal chemical in the particular agro system has devastated the complete growing of the particular crop like the cotton. Punjab farmer can't grow cotton. Even in Maharashtra, in Andhra Pradesh, situation is horrible. This dumping of the lethal chemical resulted in the development of the insecticidal resistance in these insects, resurgence of the pesticides. And my fourth point is elimination of pollinators and beneficial insects. So all these are correlated. I have compiled the data and prepared a topic for just sparking. Next.
कीबोर्ड से कीबोर्ड से
So although I have several slides, but although we have the several rules and regulations, Prevention of Food Adulteration Act, we have several acts. Government have implemented so many acts. These are the various acts have been implemented in our concept. And the residue, generally, we can define residue in MRL and ADI values, that minimum amount of the chemical that is present in particular food and that is dangerous to our health. These are the various parameters of the MRL, ADI, and others. So these are the MRL of different pesticides. It has been prescribed by the FAO and WHO. For every chemical, there is a particular MRL values is there, but nobody is following it. These are the various MRL of the different chemicals. Why? Reason of pesticide residue in our system. Indiscriminate use of the chemical. It is happening in our agro ecosystem. It is happening in our field. No observance of the waiting period. Nobody is following the waiting period. Even one day before, farmers just harvest the crop and sell it in the market. I was in Haryana. I have seen that they are dumping the carbofuron in the green coriander just one day before harvest. Waiting period of carbofuron is 62 days, and one day before they are using this granular insecticide. So it's happening. and wrong advice by the pesticide dealer. It's happening in pesticide dealers generally give so many chemicals, biogyme and other things like that. Wrong disposal of the pesticide like this. These are the various factors why this is enhancing day by day. Even farmers are using chemical in Barsim, in fodder crops like that they are using, and they are not following any waiting period. So these all chemicals having the adipophilic value and directly they come in the contact of the fat. So it's very alarming. These are various method of testing. So in this, this is data that where the pesticide uh, have been reported above the MRL values. These pesticides have been reported above the MRL values like this. You see this? These are the data. Green chili, coriander, all the crops. So residue of pesticide in green vegetable, particularly in different states. In rice, it is excessive. It was above the MRL value. One slide is very much alarming, particularly in spices. Yes, it has been reported. It was above the MRL value. So many pesticides have been reported above the MRL values. So this slide is alarming. I think this slide is alarming. You just check it. In tomato, permissible limit is 0.2, and that for the chlorpyrifos and reported pesticide is 178.87 ppm. In brinjal, it is MRL is 0.2, and pesticide have been reported 24. So in lady's finger, it is 0.2 and 2.5, cauliflower 0.01, 2.85, cabbage 0.01 and 10. So it is data reported by the time of nail pesticide 2012. So I think in this slide, this is alarming slide. It's happening with us also. And in my, this is my own recommendation that is harmful for our health. Eating green salad is harmful for our health. This is my own recommendation. That's why I am not eating the green cabbage, even broccoli, green vegetables. It's harmful, particularly in the NCR and metro cities like that. So there are so many samples have been reported from the so many vegetable and fruits crop. You see in pomegranate, grape particularly dangerous in perspective of the I think, fungicide. So many fungicides have been reported in grape crop. This is report of IRI 2010. Mango, 17 organophosphate have been reported from the mango. In tea also. And in human milk, it has been reported. Time is very short, that's why. So in milk, it has been reported. And even Dr. Mal, it has been reported in honey. In honey, so many types of pesticide have been reported. In honey, meat, fishes, like this. Because of the wrong practice of the farmer, you see. Due to this, our trade is on the risk, and so many our consignment have been rejected by the so many foreign countries. You see, United States have rejected the basmati rice. Once we have the meeting with the APIDA person, so APIDA person told that our so many consignment have been rejected due to the excessive pesticides. This is the data I have compiled. Saudi Arabia banned chili from India. It is shameful like that. So that Arabian countries banned chili from India, and these okra and other things. This is the complete data of the that this agriculture commodity have been contaminated with the pesticide, and it has been rejected by the countries like Germany, Greece, Italy. This is data I have compiled. So now it's time to have some fear that ill effect of the pesticide. You just see some slides and generate some spark. These are the ill effect of the pesticide. Definitely. Environmental effect, it has the biomagnification quality, like that it will enhance, particularly DDT will enhance up to the 24/6 times in the agro ecosystem. That's why I am telling that you just consider crop as an agro ecosystem. So many organisms are there, producer, primary consumer, secondary consumer, like this, and all the organisms have the ill effect on these pesticides. This is organochlorine. That's why मोर नहीं नाचते हैं चिड़िया नहीं निकलती है. This is the reason that we can say it has ill effect on the hatching of the eggs. So effect on the biodiversity, it has really adverse effect on the biodiversity. So now what to do? Management of pesticide residue. Organic farming and now Niti Aayog have replaced the organic farming with the natural farming, I think. And I'm not fully supporting the organic farming. At least we have to start from 5%. Suppose we are growing tomato in 1 hectare area. First year you just start 5% natural, like that. Then 10%, then 20%, 30%, like that. We have to initiate the conservation of our biodiversity, conservation of the agro ecosystem. We have several means. So organic produces, and as Dr. Moria is expertise in this, we have to focus on the biocontrol. This is one factor. This is my own view that aggressive marketing strategy of multinational company or chemical company is also responsible for this all happening. So aggressive marketing strategy of the chemical company, they are just demoralizing the biocontrol or biopesticide market like this. They have the money. So we have to promote the biological control. We have to promote the biopesticides for this. And we have to train the farmer. We have to train the farmer toward the, you can say, just stick on over the MRL values waiting periods. Just follow the waiting periods, particularly in fruits and vegetable crops. We have to provide the intensive training to the farmers about the pesticide, use of correct dose of pesticides. So washing with the some solution, cold water washing, like that. Vinegar solution, 2 gram salt and 20 ml of vinegar solution, like that. It will remove the pesticides from the contact pesticide from the fruits and vegetable crop. Peeling, bleaching, like that, cooking. So how to manage like that? We have to follow the MRL value. We have to follow the waiting periods, and we have to train the farmers for the use of the correct doses. These are the various centers where the pesticide residue laboratory have been established, and this work is going on. And in future, we must develop some consumer-friendly devices for detecting the pesticide residue. Like that, it is a great challenge to develop such kind of devices. So, conclusion: judicious use of pesticide. Yeah, we have to train farmers toward the use the correct dose of the farmer and at the right time, particularly in vegetable crop. If we just stop use of the chemical after flowering, particularly in tomato, brinjal, in this crop, we must stop the use of the chemical after flowering. After flowering, we can use the neem oil or biological control agents. Really, it will reduce the pesticide residue on our table, like that. So these are the various modules we have developed with zero pesticide residue, like that. So in this case, initially we have used the pesticides, and after flowering, we use the neem oil, pheromone trap, like that, for the borer. So by using this module, zero pesticide was observed at the time of harvesting. So we have to develop the biological control agent. We have to develop the biopesticide. We have to promote the biopesticide or biological control agent, particularly in fruits and vegetable crop. This model we have developed for the, we can say, zero residue criteria. These are the various models for the cabbage. So these models we have used although we have used the chemical with the biological control agent, biopesticide, and some cultural practices. These are the various models in different crops. So thank you very much.
Focusing on the integrated promotion of integrated avoid the pesticide residue, especially residue.
Vegetable
But इतना डरा है कि
डरना चाहिए मैडम, डरना चाहिए. Situation is horrible. Situation is horrible.
डिनर में क्या खाना है मेरे साथ से पूछना पड़ेगा.
पहले डरेंगे तभी तो हम प्रमोट करेंगे.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now,
Yeah, sure.
The third year, given a very useful information. But I have some observations regarding the financial position. I am very
Mhm.
working in this field. So I have some backdrop of this field. First of all, I found somewhere in your presentation, organochlorines are being imported. Organochlorines are banned way back in
I know. These are banned, but yeah.
My point is not that. My point is that why the organochlorines are being reported and they are 30 banned? Because the reason is that the analytical laboratories which are working in this field are not that much have proficiency to work on that. The case of Uttarakhand is very famous.
Mhm.
The report was prepared for just for media gimmick. We have tested at least 7 points, and the point is that the pesticide reported by that institution, that maybe CSC, it was totally wrong. The person who has handled that instrument is not the mechanism the propagate to do that. And then another thing is, these organochlorines are generally detected by the electron capture detector, and it is a non-selective detector, so lots of impurities can be reported by the ill-trained person. So my point is that the reliability of data is very important.
Yeah, this is IRA data.
This is not I'm telling that. I'm not telling that IRA people are the God.
It is there. It is there.
Everyone,
It's very difficult to have the work on the HPLC, and this residential work is very much tedious work. Definitely, you are true.
my point is that because this organochlorine